Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Telling Lies for Fun and Profit, a manual for fiction writers, written and narrated by Lawrence Block. This work is copyrighted 1981 by Lawrence Block. This recording is copyrighted 2002 by Recorded Books. Lawrence Block has won 2 Edgar Awards, 2 Shamus Awards, 2 Maltese Falcon Awards, and the Nero Wolfe Award. He's the author of more than 40 novels and short story collections. And now, Telling Lies for Fun and Profit.
Preface. In the summer of '75, I hit the road. I gave up my New York apartment, sold or gave away most of the possessions of a lifetime, packed the remainder into the back of a diseased station wagon, and set out for Los Angeles. It took me about 8 months to get there. I followed the coast down to Florida, then drifted west. I would linger in a spot for a couple of days or weeks, then pull up stakes on a whim. Once I checked out of a motel and drove 5 miles down the road because the television set at the first place wouldn't pick up a football game I wanted to watch. During this time I continued writing. I had, after all, done virtually nothing else since college. I wrote the first draft of a novel which ultimately became Ariel. I wrote several books that withered and died after 50 or 60 pages. When I think of them now, I imagine them as mummified fruit on a tainted tree. I wrote short stories, too, something I hadn't done in years. And I wrote an article which I called Where Do You Get Your Ideas? I did a mental first draft in the car heading west from Wilmington, North Carolina, typed it the following morning in a motel room, and mailed it the next afternoon from a branch post office in Greenville, South Carolina, and had not the slightest idea what I was getting into. Half a year later, I was living at the Magic Hotel in Hollywood. One day I remembered that article I'd sent to Writer's Digest. I'd never heard from them. I wrote, asking what happened, and got a phone call in reply from WD's editor, John Brady. He'd been attempting to buy the piece for months, but some secretary had garbled my address, and the correspondence had gone awry. We discussed a couple of changes he wanted me to make. I mentioned I'd be driving east sometime in August, and he invited me to say hello if I got within hailing distance of Cincinnati. By August, I decided Writer's Digest needed a fiction column. I made a point of stopping in Cincinnati on my way back to New York, and after a hearty lunch continued east with an assignment to write a column every other month on the techniques of fiction. After I'd done 5 or 6 columns, there was some editorial reshuffling, and my column went monthly. It stayed that way for the next 14 years. Looking back, I found myself wondering whatever prompted me to write that piece on the genesis of fictional ideas in the first place. I can think of a couple of factors. I'd been deprived entirely of the company of other writers for a few months at that point.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?